What flavor do you prefer? Standard or Nismo? 3,988,000 or 4,688,000? There's only one way to find out. So before we get into the nitty-gritty between these two cars, I'm gonna hand you over to Julian because he wants to tell you more about the differences between the inside and the outside.
So let me show you first the exterior of the Z Nismo. But first, look at this on my left, the regular Z. You already saw my review of this in a previous video, so make sure to check that out as well for more detail on this specific car. But going back to the Z Nismo, you can see that it has a more aggressive exterior, which is a given considering that this is the more high-performance version of the Z. While the basic overall design is the same, you will see that we do have the larger front grille with the Nismo badge, so it's less retro styled compared to the regular Z. We have the front splitter, the extended front splitter with red accent. Kind of looks a bit ricey. Some people won't like it, but we do need that for the extra performance. And then we have these canards over here on the sides, which redirect airflow to the brakes, which are behind these 19-inch alloy wheels. Exactly the same size as the one in the regular Z, also raised, but they are much sportier, and of course they are lighter. We also have these fender extensions for improving airflow. Then the side skirt is also different with more of that red accent here in the side mirror, which is blacked out as well, just like the regular one, blackout roof. And this stealth pearl gray exterior color, which we see in Nissan Terra, Nissan Navara, but it looks really good here on the Z Nismo. And at the back, you can see that we have the Nismo logo proudly here in the center. We have the redesigned bumper, which also gets a sportier design, and of course that will help with airflow again. Then right in the middle, we have a rear fog light. It's inspired by what we see in race cars. And then you can see this spoiler here is extended to the side. So in the regular Z, only here in the center, but here it goes all the way, so further improves airflow. And then once you do open this, it's pretty much the same, so just the normal amount of space and our subwoofer inside. And inside the Nissan Z Nismo, of course, there are a few things that set this apart from the regular Z, starting with the seats. So we get Recaro bucket seats, which are firmer, and they're wrapped in this leather and suede, have that huge red accent, the Nismo logo, Recaro logo, and they are manually controlled, so no heated seats here. The rest of the design at first look is basically the same. Then the other stuff you will find that were different here. We have red buttons here in the center console, the start-stop button, the drive mode selection rather. Those are finished in red. The steering wheel is basically the same design as well, but we do have the suede on the side for more grip with your hands, and red stitching, and a red on center marker on top. The digital instrument cluster is also the same, but it does have a red ring around the central gauge, which tells you that this is the Nismo. Of course, the Nismo logo is right there as well. The infotainment system is still the same 8-inch Nissan Connect. Still not as good, easy to use, but again, that will not affect your drive anyway, which Sam will now talk to you about.
So before we get into what makes the Z Nismo different in terms of driving impressions, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the laundry list of changes. So, Nissan says that the Z Nismo is a track-ready car from the factory. It has the same 3-liter twin-turbo V6 known as the VR30 DDTT, but it has a slightly increased power output of 420 horsepower and 520 Newton meters of torque. The improved engine and oil cooling improved the turbos with better wastegate control and improved the spark timing. Handling-wise, the changes include additional chassis bracing, an improved suspension with new stabilizer bars, stiffer springs and bushings, plus retuned dampers. The tires are now Dunlop SP Sport Max GT600s. The rear now is 285/35. The brakes have also been upsized, so the front rotors are now 15 inches and the rear rotors are 13.8 inches. Plus, they come with bigger Akebono brake calipers. So if you're wondering how it's like to drive the Z Nismo on regular roads like a daily driver, well, right away, it's a lot harsher than the standard Z. The standard Z is very compliant, easy to drive, and this, because of its additional chassis bracing, the harshness and everything, it's uncomfortable, but it's still livable, especially with these Recaro bucket seats. You lose some creature comforts, such as power adjustments and seat heating, but admit it, if you're going to be the only one driving these, then it's pretty much a set and forget. But normal mode is just for normies. You buy a Z Nismo to drive it in Sport Plus mode. So in Sport Plus mode, this changes the car entirely. It brings the Z Nismo alive. Steering gets heavier, the transmission shifts, more aggressive upshifts, quicker downshifts, and Nissan says that it's actually faster than a 6-speed manual, which is why they didn't include one. I mean, a computer is faster than how most people would shift 6-speed manual transmissions, but I digress. The Z Nismo is not a car that you bring out to enjoy. You don't soak up miles, you bring it out on the track. The additional horsepower and torque, it's more spread out across the rev range, meaning more linear power. Yeah, sure, that comes at the cost of increased fuel consumption, but do you really buy a Z Nismo to drive it around in the city like a regular person? The handling, what can I say? Because of the harsher ride that I mentioned earlier, it's not good for driving in the city. But when you drive it out in a track, it's more confident. You take it in the corners, there's way less body roll. It's stiffer, it's pointier. The steering, it's a lot heavier than the regular Z, especially in Sport Plus mode. So it has that confidence that it can go as fast as you want to in the corners. Obviously, just don't overdrive yourself. But the Z Nismo is a lot more capable as a track machine compared to the standard Z. One thing I would say is that the brakes, yeah, they're a little grabby and they're a little squeaky, but when you're driving fast in the racetrack and you need to stop at the corner, you'll need all that stopping power that you can. If you want to hear how the exhaust normally sounds, the Z is a bit quieter. That thing you heard right now is just fake engine noise. Because you know how the regular Z has that piped in noise? The Z Nismo gets that, but it adds some pops and burbles. If you ask me, it's a great trade-off between having an exhaust that wakes up your entire neighborhood versus something that you can hear. Hot take, but it is what it is. To conclude, the Z Nismo is a completely different machine compared to what the regular Z is. The Z has always been a grand tourer since 1969. You soak up miles, you just relax, you take it easy, and look good while doing it. What Nismo has done is sharpened up the Z and turned it up to 11. They extracted as much performance as you can without having to bolt on aftermarket parts or anything, made it a track-ready machine, which, while sounds like marketing fluff, this time it's actually believable. Yeah, you could argue that you could put modifications on a regular Z and put it up to this level, but then there's that special sauce that Nismo only can do. After all, they built the car with Nissan rather than having a bunch of tuners test out the parts one by one. If you want something that isn't a GTR, that gives you that analog feel on a racetrack, then I'd say that the 4,688,000 that you pay for this is worth it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Auto Page.